Well, hello again, YouTube. It's Petey Two Finger here with another exciting dark web mystery box unboxing gone wrong. Hey guys, I'm going to need you to smash that like button. I did a video yesterday assuming that one of the packages, I had two packages, and I assumed one of them was a guitar pedal. Today we have a box, and I'm filming the opening of this box, and it is a drum roll please. It is it's a pedal. It's a pedal. How do you like that? Pretty good. Comes with a box. You know what? I'm not going to cut this just yet in case. Oh, look at this. Look at that. I got an instruction packet. Do not store this unit in the following circumstances. High temperature. Nope. High humidity. Nope. Dirty or strong shock places. Oh, I was going to store this in my strong shock place. So here we have this box is pretty used. We have the JF14 American Sound. American Sound simulates a Fender 57 deluxe amplifier which can performs greatly from original sound to overdrive. And the moment of untethering. Apart from it said don't use alcohol. So I think window cleaner is safe, wouldn't you think? So here it is, the JoYo, Angel Mammy muricun sound. And I'm really impressed with the apparent quality level of this JoYo. Let's see if the comes with a working battery. Unbelievable. Yeah, the light comes on. Do you have, would you grab my test amp? The test amp is, I believe it's uppy. And yes, but the test amp, the actual micro amp, it's battery. Yeah. Now there's a pair of cables, maroon, or we can go wild card with anything that you can grab. I think maybe we had.
I've got a maroon and a.
Yeah. So here's a tone generator, and here is a micro amp, battery powered micro amp. These are really like this for initial testing, just to make sure that something passes signal, that maybe you can even tell if some of the controls are doing what they're supposed to do. You know, the volume. So I will, there you go. Level, the low end, the mid you can always tell, and the treble. But the low end is the one with this size of speaker. And there's a voice knob. Here's the drive level. I had assumed that this voice control, this was the mystery knob on the JoYo. I had assumed that that knob was a tilt EQ. Now, a tilt equalizer is kind of, it's not like a typical old-fashioned tone control where we would consider the high frequency, like a big muff tone control. You get just treble, tone makes it dull. You turn it down, maybe there's a little bit more bass. When you nudge it down, and that bass stays kind of consistent, doesn't really get any louder, but when you throttle it, there's an absence of bass, and it just unleashes the high end. So that's when I see a tone control or like a filter, that's what I think. It's just treble cut. It's a low pass filter maybe. And those are okay. A tilt EQ is like on the one side of it you have that high-end effect, but then on the other side you have bass. And it doesn't cut as much high-end when you get down into that bass. So the tilt EQ, and I only ran into it once on a runoff-proof Thunderbird. It's the sixth controller, like the extra. I cannot believe the quality of this. It's a heavy metal backplate with nice rubberization, really nice rubberized here. Now the battery, sits, they have a foam rubber piece down here, and then it actually wedges itself right on the PCB for the switcher, for the stop switch. It does not look like maybe somebody has been in here. It doesn't look like it's had a modification performed. The solder connections for the 9-volt battery snap. If you were going to play that game, one of these things does not belong here, where the soldering connections look amateurish. They look bulbous. All the other ones, you can see the wire really sticking out, and then there's these two where I'm pointing at. Those two are kind of like a little overdone it. So maybe the guy put in his own battery snap or replaced it. I don't know. This unit features the 9mm potentiometers. There's sort of the skinny green pots. You can see them up there. These knobs, I almost think I'm going to take these knobs off of here and put I made these a pair of cab sims, and the chassis is a 125B, so it's narrower than this, and there's 6 knobs, so they're crammed together, so there isn't much room on these Marshalls. They're black plastic Marshall style knobs, and I was like, that's my favorite knob. When I saw it, I was like, I really like that. You know, I like the Marshall style knobs, except for the fact that they're chrome or gold. I don't like that. The gold wears off. Anyway, yeah, this pedal has the type of knobs that I desire. They're maybe Davies type, and this would go good maybe on my wife's. Maybe I'll take these off and trade them. We'll see. For now, I wanted to. Can you put this on here in reverse? Yeah, it looks like you. If you got creative and cut away some of this, they've got this like rubberized piece here, and I think if you were gonna Velcro that. That would be the only thing I could say is, like if it was me, I would get a piece of cardstock or cardboard and whatever the right thickness and peel the sticker out of here, put some hot glue in here, and then make this the same level. So I could put a big patch of Velcro on here. I like stuff like that, like when we're talking about Velcroing a pedal, the idea of it peeling up at some point or not having enough surface to stick. All of that type of stuff, I really don't like that. Like when I'm building pedals, often I will use epoxy. I'll take JB Weld and I will take my rubber feet, remove the adhesive from it or whatever extra layering is on there, and go ahead and epoxy them to the pedal. And I remember oftentimes if I was a couple of times when people wanted me to build them pedals, and I would ask them stuff like that. And they wouldn't respond. Like that was too much for them to read. Read me explaining in this giant post, like, hey, I don't know if you're going to be Velcroing this. Do I waste my rubber feet? You know, do you want that? Are you going to be mad if I don't put them on there? Or are you going to be mad when they fall off? Because the way I do it, I epoxy them on there. And I don't want to do that if you're not going to be good with it. So let me know. And I would say, like, where do you want the jacks? Do you want the jacks on the top or on the side? They couldn't even answer that. So it was like, maybe you if you're that dumb and that lazy, maybe you don't deserve someone to make you a pedal. So yeah, I'm excited about this. The reason I got this is because it has a cab sim built in, and we do a lot of that here. It's an apartment and don't want to bother the neighbors. So this pedal is an amp in a box. And I like that Fender clean thing. I like that chimey, sparkly. I mean, I guess maybe really you're talking chimey. The Vox AC is the one. I've heard that the Tech 21 Blonde, which that's this. This is a clone of the Tech 21 Blonde. I've heard the Tech 21 Blonde and the Tech 21 Liverpool, which is the AC30, the Vox amplifier simulation, that they are so similar that you can kind of set them to mimic each other. I heard that from one guy's comment. He said he ended up selling his Liverpool. But hey, to guitar players, sometimes that little bit is all we need to make the difference. So thank you for joining me for this unboxing. You'll be hearing this, like I said, I purchased it because I had wanted one for a really, 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 really long time. It came up for $25 used, and I bought it. The idea for this would be I would run it on my dry channel that rather than have a digital amp and cab sim setup. Actually, I built a analog cab sim. So if I can modify this to bypass the internal cabinet simulator, which you can, it's real easy to do, then I could, with all good faith, run it through I've seen people run these things through cab sims regardless of the built-in cab sim, so it's kind of a moot point. But my idea is that if the high current draw thing starts bringing me down, because I have some digital rig with a Flamma preamp, a Behringer reverb delay, and then a cab sim pedal, Omni cab sim, going to a Class D amp that has a tone mender front end, coming out to a really nice 12-inch guitar speaker with a horn. And that horn, it's a automotive bullet tweeter. The idea with that is running amp modelers, you need that high-end information. So you're supposed to run a full range speaker. The way I handle it is I use a guitar speaker and add a two-way crossover with a horn. That's the way I'm handling it in this case. And it works. It works well enough for me, good enough for rock and roll. So, like I said, if I... ideally I would have both. I would have the Flamma and this up there. But there's this battery restraint. So you may see me swapping stuff out. You won't see that on camera, but that may be what I'll do is, hey, pop that JoYo in, play some clean songs or songs that use this Fendery thing. And what I really want to try with this is don't bother with the Omni cab sim. Use this built-in cab sim. Don't mod it or nothing. Just take it how it comes. And find some cool distortion pedals to run in front of it. Does this thing, because I've heard this thing takes pedals really good. And I've got some different dirt boxes that certainly would be interested in pairing with this. So I may end up having a couple of dirt boxes on the ground after the splitter. I have a splitter system. It's an active splitter pedal that I built when my guitar chain signal goes in, and then there's two output jacks. So I could have some dirt pedals on the floor and then run this up on top of the amp as the amp sim, and whatever additional processing, whether that be the cab sim and I pull a bypass on here, or a little reverb box to give it just a little bit of air around it. I like that. That dry is so dry, but then if you have the wet rig with it, it's almost like, I think how that's going to work is when I'm demoing stuff at home, I can use a reverb pedal to fatten it up. And then when we go out to the field and I've got the wet rig to complement the dry, that wouldn't be necessary. So we'll see. I want to try to limit, like if I can, limit this dry rig to 3 or 4 pedals at the most. So yesterday I've been busy. We built a couple of guitar pedals, the Omni cab sims. We had one little piece of solder that stuck in between underneath the chip socket, and it was shorting out 2 resistors. And then the second board had a blob of stray solder that shorted it out. So neither one of them worked, and I was like having a nervous breakdown like 2 hours into troubleshooting when I found this little bit of mung that I scraped off, and then the pedals worked flawlessly on both of them. So I'm blaming it on this crappy solder I got. I asked for solder for Christmas, and I told my wife, look for 60/40, whatever is
Send
it.
me the link.
Okay, I sent her the link, which in my mind I looked for 60/40, whatever was the cheapest, So, and you would have found the same thing, because that's what it was. The cheapest 60/40 solder on eBay. And the stuff that just doesn't ball up right, and it doesn't stick. So I got my old spool of solder out today. We're building the Benson preamp right now. Actually, my neighbors upstairs are gone, so I'm going to test this. but the landlord's here, which is not cool.
The kids-
They last night I played guitar yesterday very quietly in here for 10 minutes, and the neighbors upstairs started jumping up and down. Boom, 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 boom. And then taking broad steps. I shut it off and they continued to do it for a few minutes. So that was their way of saying fuck you to me. And I mean, I never play guitar in here. Never. I've always using headphones or a tiny speaker where they can't hear it. So the one time that they hear it, and believe me, you have like the amount of noise and bullshit that I put up with them, waking me up every day with the kids wrestling and jumping up and down. And I've never pounded. I pounded on the wall once. One time, they were unbelievably loud. They were jumping and running back and forth. And I banged, because she told me, if it gets loud, just bang on the wall. And I said, well, I don't want to do that. You know, because then every time, once I do it, then you're going to be doing it on me. You know, and I don't take the people doing that. You know, we're adults. We should know. You know, like
You should know when to tell your kid to knock it off and quiet down.
we had kids and they used to get loud, and we would just say guys, or my wife would say knock it off, and they would. But people don't do that. People do not tell their kids no. That's a whole nother topic, but yeah, that really made me fucking see red yesterday. It took a lot of restraint. Today we were in a resale store and we asked for help on the case. There's a case where they have nice stuff. And this woman, we waited for like 8 minutes for her to help us. She came back and forth. We saw her a couple times. This black guy comes up, big black guy, and he's really well dressed, like a young guy, and he's got like athletic stuff. And so she comes with the keys, and he's like, I want to see these shoes. And my wife said, yeah, well, we've been waiting 8 minutes. You're going to have to wait your turn.
Well, I didn't say it like that.
Yeah. And I looked at him, and he goes, what the fuck are you giving me that look for? This is what the guy said to me.
He didn't. There was no foul language.
Okay, well, that's what I heard. And all I gotta say is I wait my turn at the resale store. And I don't understand how you could come in. He was like leaning on us. He kept coming in our personal space and like making it. He was trying to do a thing that big dudes will do where they intimidate you. Like, I'm big and, you know, I want you to move, so I'm going to come in your space. And I didn't move. And then I looked at him because it's like, what do you do? You're trying to cut, you know, like we waited. There's three things in this case I'm going to be looking at. And when I'm done, in 45 seconds, you're going to get your turn. But you're interrupting. And then I like, he's like, what are you looking at me for? Well, I'm looking at you because you've been coming in our space for the last 2 minutes that you waited. And we waited 8. And then you tried to cut in front of us. That's what I'm looking at you for. You fucking dumbass. Anyway, don't be intimidated by people. This is the advice I'm giving myself. I did not respond to him when he said that, which was the smartest thing to do. Because God knows if I would have gotten shot how many times, or it would have been physical altercation, but it just wasn't worth it, you know? I mean, what am I going to do? Tell him, look him in the eye and say, I wait my turn at the resale store? Which is what I would have wanted to say. And I've said it before, and it always makes people go nuts. You know? The last guy, he said, dude, you're camping, is what he said to me. And he had only been in my area 10 seconds before he started reaching over me and going, and sighing. And it's like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. You got a cart full of stuff. Some of it has $35 price tags on it. You know, I'm sorry it's your first time at the resale store. You've got $5,000 worth of stuff that you're going to spend $200 on. But you're in that big of a fucking hurry in the hardware section where you can't wait for a minute. Because what I'll do If I go to the resale store and there's some Mexican guy who's smoked pot and he's staring at a clock radio, rocking back and forth, passing gas, and I can smell it, I'll go to the hardware. I'll go to the toys. I'll go somewhere else and let him do his thing, and then, because chances are he's not going to buy a power supply, or if they have some weird amplifier, I'm going to end up getting what I would have got, because none of those customers ever buy anything in the first place. So the best thing I could think to say is not, hey buddy, you need to wait your turn. It's, I wait my turn at the resale store. That's the perfect thing to say. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you. My landlord left, so I'm done with you. Peace. I'm trying to do this like cool man, like throwing my peace sign. What you looking at? I want to buy these shoes. That's what I should have done. I told Gopti, I said to the lady, I'm going to buy all of these shoes. Oh, man, that would have been great. All right. I got to get it in frame. But I want it to be like at an angle, like. Take care.